Hi, everyone. Welcome to Free Write Friday. My name is Jessica Lynn Johnson. I am the founder and CEO of Soaring Solo Studios, which is a company dedicated to the direction and development of one-person plays. For those of you who aren't familiar with me and my body of work, I have directed and developed well over 100 solo shows in my nearly 20-year career. I've also toured internationally with my own award-winning solo shows. I am a blogger for NoHo Arts. I write a blog all about solo theater. And I am on the advisory board with the Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival. So that's me in a nutshell. And I obviously have a passion for solo theater. So welcome to this experience. Free Write Friday really just has a mission of breaking down the structure, the formatting, the types of writing that would need to go into a solo show. So each Friday that I host these, we'll focus in on a certain talking point, and then we'll set aside some time to write together about that specific talking point. And it is also meant to foster safe, supportive, creative community. So definitely get to know one another in the chat and say hello and all of those things. And if you miss any Free Write Fridays, I had the first one, what was it, like a week or two ago. If you miss any of them, you can always hop on my YouTube channel and find them there. That is why I record these sessions, just so people can watch it back later. Make sure you have something nearby you to write with and write on. After I'm done giving this talking point, we will move into writing. And the whole thing should only take about 20 or 30 minutes. And just know that you're not going to have to share anything that you've written today, at least not in this context. If you'd like to share, that would be better served in my free class, which I'll talk about more later, or in coaching sessions and things like that. But this is really just for the purpose of learning and writing. Okay, so today I wanted to focus on what is the dramatic question? What is your dramatic question? So some of you might be very familiar with this term, dramatic questions. Some of you might have never heard of that, or maybe you know about it, but not in regard to a solo show. And I think a lot of times when we sit down and write a solo show, it ends up emulating a stand-up routine for an hour, or monologuing a memoir at the audience, and there's not much of a play structure to it. And a lot of times it's just very anecdotal, and that's because there isn't a dramatic question that is driving the story. So what is a dramatic question specifically in the context of solo theater? And that's really what question the play and the protagonist are seeking to answer. So what are they seeking to answer throughout this show? And for some of you, you might have already honed in on what that dramatic question is. Others of you might be still trying to figure out what your dramatic question is, and that's okay. It comes to us at different points in the journey. But I'll just give you an example of my own dramatic question with my second solo show, Z. And my protagonist name was Tessa. She was the hero or the heroine of that journey. And she was seeking to answer, what is healthy sexuality for a modern spiritual woman? And it just so happened that at that time in my own personal life, I was also seeking answers about sexuality and spirituality and things like that. So it was really exciting to go on that journey, and scary to go on that journey of researching and interviewing people, and also looking at my own life for the answers to that question. So you can ask yourself, what are you currently grappling with? What are you currently curious about? Or it might, your dramatic question can often be something you're already on the other side of. You've already kind of answered that for yourself, and now you want to share that answer with your audience. But essentially, that's an example of what a dramatic question can look like. And this will also be really essential when you're picking which of your mosaic pieces. I often refer to the excerpts that we're writing for our solo shows as mosaic pieces. Knowing the dramatic question is going to be essential in picking which of your mosaic pieces stay and which ones go. Because if you have, 100 pages of writing and some of them are not in any way, shape, or form serving answering that dramatic question, then those are probably better served for a different project and will end up on the cutting room floor of this particular solo show. So that will definitely help you shape your show, figure out how you want to contextualize things, and essentially what the final message of your show is going to be, because you want to be answering that dramatic question in some way, shape, or form. And that doesn't always mean it's going to be tied up with a nice bow and there's a clear black and white answer, but it does mean that we've now moved the story forward in somewhere, some space that is different from where it started. We've illuminated this subject matter in a new way than where the story began. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to break up our writing into two segments. So this first segment, I'm just going to set my timer for 3 minutes. So it's going to be very quick. And I just want you to just brainstorm a bunch of questions that either you've been curious about or that you're curious about in this moment. And don't even limit it to what you think your solo show needs to be about, but just ask yourself, what are you curious about? What is your own dramatic questions, and brainstorm and write several of them, and don't overthink it. Just let yourself ask a bunch of questions, and I'll let you know when your 3 minutes are up. Okay, go ahead and wrap up your question writing. So now for part two of this writing exercise, I want you to just pick one of those questions that is feeling good to you right now. And I'm going to have you write for 5 minutes about where you stand right now with that question. So this might be a lot of several more questions under the umbrella of this question. It might be what you think you know about the answer to that question. Or again, you might be living the answer right now and you want to write that. There's no way to mess it up. I just want you to let that question inspire your writing. And I will let you know when your 5 minutes are up. And again, just pick one of those questions and free write on it without any censorship. I'll let you know when your time's up. Okay, please wrap up your writing. And if you wrote on scrap paper or notebook or something, I always encourage you to transcribe what you've written into a document on your computer so your show can start to take place and find itself in a safe space on your computer where it's accumulating. Um, and I would definitely encourage you to keep writing about your dramatic questions and seeing what you think that question is for your solo show and how it might inform you. And again, if there's a lot of, if you have a lot of questions around your question, and you're not living in the answer right now, that's where interviews and research and even leaning into fantasy can really start to inform your process. Or if you're stuck between themes of your show and you're not sure which story you want to follow with your solo show, then it's a great way to check in with yourself and see what you feel the most curious about. What are you most passionate about answering for yourself and for your audience with your show? And that might help you determine which dramatic question you want to lean into. You will also see in the chat, I put a lot of Soaring Solo announcements that are coming up. Just ignore the numbers because I got off on the wrong track with my numbering system in the announcements, but all the info is there. So beginning with um, my free class, I am having my next free Art of Creating the One-Person Play class on Saturday, July 17th. That's at 10 a.m. Pacific time, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. So all you have to do for that is RSVP on my website under free stuff. And you don't need to bring any material to class. I will always provide a writing prompt, but if you do have material that you've already written that is solo theater, you may bring that to class. And if there's time, I will see it and give feedback on it. Next up, we have the Creating Captivating Characters Intensive, which is taught by Soaring Solo instructor Heather Dowling, who is also an award-winning solo artist herself. We're sold out for June and July, but we are starting to form a list for August. Typically it happens on Wednesday nights. So right now we're looking at the 11th, 18th, and 25th, I believe I said, which are Wednesday evenings from 7 to 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. And we do have some night owls on the East Coast that join us for that. So you're welcome to join us in any time zone. It is on Zoom. But I think Heather's still on this call, so I will let her speak to that and tell you a bit more about it. And let me unmute you, Heather. Give me just 1 second. Unmute. There we go.
Hey everybody, I didn't plan on being on camera today, so I have my writer makeup on, not my actress makeup on. They are very different. Hi. So yeah, creating captivating characters has been an incredible invention that Jessica and I cooked up together, and she came up with a phenomenal curriculum guide that really leads you through how not only you can create the characters that maybe you're already percolating on in your mind and writing in your script, or how discovering the characters that make up the story you want to tell can help you write that story, in fact. So it's a symbiotic relationship of utilizing characters to help you create your story, but also discovering what it looks like to actually bring a character to life on stage when you're the only one up there. It's, I can't remember which client I was talking to yesterday, but was saying that they're really starting to understand that the difference between storytelling and stand-up is characterization, and creating a world where this one person embodies what seems to be multiple people inside of the storytelling, and how different that is and how vivid it is and how much more alive it feels for solo performance than just storytelling. So it's a blast. It's very empowering, especially as a performer and writer, for you to find a new way to discover your voice and express a story that's dying to be told to come out of you. So definitely get on the list for August. We've sold out every course so far. So if you think it's something that would help you either support the development characters inside of something you're currently working on, or if you think that playing with characters could help you find the voice, find your dramatic question, then either way, it's a great place for you to be. And we work really hard to customize it to wherever you're at on your journey. So hope to see you.
Thank you, Heather. Very well said. Yes. Okay, and that is $149 for all 3 weeks. So it's a steal, and you do get my jam-packed curriculum guide to keep forever and ever and always. So you can enjoy that as well. So email me at soringsoloartist@gmail.com if you'd like more information about that or to reserve your spot. And if you wanted to work one-on-one with me or try out a small group or a power pair or any of that, feel free to email me about those offerings to find out more information. It's also all on my website, soaringSoloStudios.com. And then I'm actually going to be launching a new virtual reading series called Revealed. So I will be highlighting different solo artists who are ready to virtually have a reading of their solo show. So if you want to look ahead into 2022 and think about having a show ready in the next 6 to 8 months, we could look ahead at that. If you have something that is going to be ready in the next couple of months, we can also look at that. But the whole point is to put a stake in the ground that is meaningful and to get some feedback on your solo show work in progress so that you know what the next steps are to fine tune it. So feel free to email me more about Revealed and we can discuss how you could be a part of that if you're interested in that. Next up, I had hosted Isolate, Meditate, Create on Wednesday mornings all throughout the pandemic. It was just an opportunity for us to meditate, visualize, and write together. So a lot of people joined for that and we wrote for 120 days together. If you missed that experience and you want to catch up or revisit it, that is all on my YouTube channel as well, Jessica Lynn Johnson, Soaring Solo LLC. I put the link to it to my website page, which links back to the YouTube there in the chat as well. So that's called Isolate, Meditate, Create. And that's a really fantastic way to get into the subconscious mind, get into your intuition, and start writing your solo show from that standpoint, from getting into a heart space where you're just really free and uncensored with your writing. So you may try that if you're still trying to discover, again, what your story's about. What is that dramatic question? We are also in encore season right now, Best of Fest. We're wrapping that up over at the Whitefire Theater. Best of Fest features the selections from Solo Fest, which is the largest solo theater festival on the West Coast. And we've been live streaming theater all through the pandemic, and we're continuing to do that. Tonight is For Love or Money by Mitch Feinstein. He is in his 70s. He was a Beverly Hills lawyer, very successful, who always had that nagging artist inside who was like, I want to come out and play. And finally, in his 70s, Mitch finally let his artist come out and play. And he's encoring his one-man show tonight for Love or Money, 7 p.m. Pacific time tonight. Link is in the chat. You can also go to soaringSoloStudios.com under events and upcoming solo shows to find that out and get your tickets. And then Hollywood Fringe Festival is, it's happening. It just announced today that they are doing a hybrid model of both digital and in-person audiences. So that's really, really exciting. So if you want to be a part of Hollywood Fringe, I would definitely look on their website. You can also email me for my insight on that. I've been doing that festival for nearly a decade now. So definitely have a lot to share about the do's and don'ts of participating in that festival. And then if you enjoyed FREEWrite Friday and you want to join us again, the next one is happening on July 9th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So we're going to do an earlier one, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern. So feel free to join then, and you just RSVP the same way you did this time. The link is on my website to RSVP. And I think that's everything. So I will leave the chat up for a little while in case you want to jot down any of those announcements or say hi to one another, but I'm going to jump off and thank you all so much. Enjoy your Friday.